King Charles's fond mention of Harry and Meghan in his inaugural speech could suggest a more harmonious future for the couple in the royal family. Royal watchers are stunned. Rumors out of Buckingham Palace claim King Charles has made a move Meghan never imagined. A decision so unexpected it could flip the royal power structure overnight. What surprising decision did King Charles make that Meghan didn't see coming? And is it the right time for the place to get back at the Orange Duchess? Join us as we take a look at the important moments that have shaped this interesting royal story, and see what King Charles's decision means for the future of the most famous family in the world. A perfect partnership. When their engagement was announced in November 2017, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle seemed like a match made in heaven. He was the fun, loving royal rebel with a heart of gold, the spare heir who had served in Afghanistan and started the Invictus Games for injured veterans. She was the self-made star of the hit legal drama Suits, a passionate humanitarian and a proud feminist who served as a counselor for the international charity One Young World. Friends described them as a perfect partnership, two free spirits equally committed to making a difference. They're both passionate about wanting to make a change for good, said Harry's friend and Invictus Games medalist J.J. Chalmers. They're a fantastic match. Their wedding on May 19, 2018, was a global event watched by an estimated 1.9 billion people worldwide. List celebrities like Oprah Winfrey and George Clooney rubbed shoulders with royalty inside the ancient stone walls of St. George's Chapel. Meghan dazzled in an elegant Givenchy gown as she glided down the aisle to meet her beaming prince. It was a day of joy and celebration, a moment when the whole world seemed to smile with the happy couple. But even amidst the laughter and cheers, there were hints of the troubles to come. Some royal watchers noted Meghan's easy confidence and the way she seemed to command the spotlight even alongside her royal husband. Others pointed to the absence of Meghan's father, Thomas, who had been caught staging paparazzi photos in the run-up to the big day. The tabloids were already circling, hungry for any sign of scandal or strife. The honeymoon, it seemed, would be short-lived, and what would come next would be the start of her tumultuous life. Family friction. As Meghan settled into her new role as a working royal, reports began to emerge of rising tensions behind palace walls. Some courtiers claimed that the Queen was alarmed by Harry and Meghan's popularity, fearing they could eclipse the monarchy itself. Others alleged that Prince William had cautioned Harry against moving too fast with Meghan, leading to a rift between the once inseparable brothers. The rift only seemed to widen after Harry and Meghan's wedding. Rumors went around that Meghan had reduced Kate Middleton to tears during a bridesmaid dress fitting for Princess Charlotte. Sources claimed that the two women were very different people who struggled to get along. William, fiercely protective of his wife, was said to be deeply upset by Meghan's alleged behavior. The arrival of Harry and Meghan's son, Archie Harrison, in May 2019, brought a brief moment of unity as the royal family gathered to welcome its newest member. But behind the scenes, tensions continue to simmer. Harry and Meghan's decision to keep details of Archie's birth private was criticized by some as a snub to royal tradition. When they declined to pose for the customary photo on the hospital steps, it was seen as further evidence of their desire to break free from the royal mold. As the months passed, Harry and Meghan's struggles with the British press only intensified. Meghan launched legal action against Associated Newspapers for publishing a private letter to her father, while Harry issued an unprecedented statement denouncing the ruthless media campaign against his wife. For the prince, it brought back painful memories of how his mother, Princess Diana, had been hounded by the paparazzi right up until her tragic death. He was determined not to let history repeat itself. Harry and Meghan decided to fight against the tabloids, which were very strong and influential. This created a big conflict that could challenge the monarchy itself. In the middle of all this was Prince Charles, who was having a hard time showing he was in charge while his son's disagreement was straining the royal family. Secluded sojourn. In the fall of 2019, Harry and Meghan went on a 10-day royal trip to southern Africa. This is their first official family trip with baby Archie. But while this is happening, they are preparing to make a major announcement that will surprise everyone in the royal family. After finishing their last events in Johannesburg, they secretly fly to Canada for a 6-week break from their royal duties. They really need this time off after a tough year in the public eye. While they relaxed on Vancouver Island, Harry and Meghan were also thinking about a new way to be part of the royal family. For months, they have been quietly exploring the idea of stepping back from their senior positions to carve out a more independent life. They envision a hybrid model that would allow them to continue supporting the Queen while also pursuing their own charitable interests and earning income. It's a bold gambit, one that will require delicate negotiations with the palace and the British government. As word of their plans begins to leak out, the British press goes into overdrive. Rumors swirl that Harry and Meghan are considering a permanent move to Canada or even the United States. The Queen is said to be deeply concerned about the impact on the monarchy, while Prince Charles and Prince William are reportedly furious at being kept in the dark. On January 8, 2020, after returning from their Canadian hideaway, Harry and Meghan finally dropped the bombshell. In a statement posted on their official Instagram account, they announced their intention to step back as senior members of the royal family and work to become financially independent. The news sends shock waves around the world, with many hailing it as a brave and necessary move, while others see it as a betrayal of the monarchy. For the royal family, this is a big challenge. No senior royal has ever given up their duties like this before. For Harry and Meghan, it's a chance to escape the rules of royal life and create their own future. But they will soon find that the journey ahead is full of difficulties. Cutting the cord, in the days following Harry and Meghan's bombshell announcement, crisis talks are held at Sandringham House to hammer out the details of their new arrangement. The Queen, Prince Charles, Prince William, and Prince Harry all gathered to discuss the way forward, with Meghan joining by phone from Canada. After intense negotiations, a deal has finally been reached. Under the so-called Meghan agreement, Harry and Meghan will no longer use their HR titles or receive public funds for their duties. They will be required to repay the $2.44 million in taxpayer money used to renovate their UK home Frogmore Cottage. And while they will retain their titles as Duke and Duchess of Sussex, they will no longer be allowed to use the Sussex royal brand they had hoped to leverage for their new charitable ventures. For Harry, the decision to step back from his royal duties is a painful one. He has always been deeply committed to his role as a member of the royal family, and he knows that his actions will have profound consequences for the monarchy. But he also knows that he can no longer continue on the same path, not if he wants to protect his wife and son from the relentless media scrutiny that nearly destroyed his mother. In a speech at a charity dinner in London, Harry addressed his decision head-on. "The decision that I have made for my wife and me to step back is not one I made lightly," he says, his voice thick with emotion. "It was so many months of talks after so many years of challenges, and I know I haven't always gotten it right. But as far as this goes, there really was no other option." For Meghan, the decision to leave the royal family was bittersweet. On one hand, she is relieved to be free from the constant criticism and scrutiny of the British press. But on the other hand, she knows that she will be forever linked to the monarchy, and that her every move will continue to be dissected and analyzed by the media. As they prepared to embark on their new life in North America, Harry and Meghan knew that they were taking a huge gamble. They were betting that they could create a new kind of royal role for themselves, one that allows them to make a real difference in the world while still maintaining their ties to the monarchy. But as they will soon discover, the road ahead is filled with twists and turns that they could never have anticipated. Telling all, in March 2021, nearly a year after their royal exit, Harry and Meghan sat down with Oprah Winfrey for a bombshell interview that will send shock waves around the world. Over the course of 2 hours, the couple opened up about their struggles within the royal family, revealing intimate details about their mental health, their relationships with other royals, and the racism they say they experienced from both the press and members of the family. Meghan was remarkably candid about her battle with thoughts of ending her own life during her pregnancy with Archie. She also drops a bombshell allegation about conversations within the royal family about the potential skin color of her unborn child. In those months when I was pregnant, all around this same time, we had in tandem the conversation of he won't be given security. He's not going to be given a title, and also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born. Meghan says, for Harry, the decision to speak out is driven by a desire to set the record straight and to protect his wife from the same forces that he believes contributed to his mother's death. My biggest concern was history repeating itself. He tells Oprah, I've seen what happens when someone I love is commoditized to the point that they are no longer treated or seen as a real person. I lost my mother, and now I watch my wife falling victim to the same powerful forces. The interview sends shock waves around the world, with many praising the couple for their honesty and bravery in speaking out about their experiences. But it also draws criticism from those who see it as a self-serving attempt to boost their own brand at the monarchy's expense. In the days following the interview, the palace issued a brief statement on behalf of the Queen, expressing concern for the issues raised and promising to address them privately as a family. But behind closed doors, the fallout was intense. Prince William was said to be furious at his brother for airing the family's dirty laundry in public. The question is, will they be able to do so on their own terms, or will they forever be haunted by the shadow of the monarchy they left behind, a deal with the devil? In the months following their Oprah interview, Harry and Meghan threw themselves into their new life in California. They signed lucrative deals with Netflix and Spotify, promising to produce documentaries, feature films, and podcasts that would promote their charitable causes and give voice to diverse perspectives. But even as they built their new brand, they found themselves still entangled with the royal family in ways they had never anticipated. In July 2021, they returned to the UK for the unveiling of a statue of Princess Diana on what would have been her 60th birthday. The event was meant to be a moment of unity and healing for the brothers, but instead it only served to highlight the deep rift between them. Harry and William hardly spoke during the ceremony, and Meghan was absent, staying in California with their young kids. The tension was apparent and worsened when it was revealed that the Sussexes were secretly writing a memoir that would reveal more about the royal family. The book, called Spare, was set to be released in January 2023, just before King Charles's coronation. Many saw the timing as an attempt to overshadow the event and take attention away from the new king. Palace insiders were preparing for the worst, with one source telling the Times that the book was the stuff of nightmares for the royal family. For Harry and Meghan, the decision to write the memoir was a risky one. On one hand, it allowed them to tell their story in their own words and to set the record straight on the many controversies and misunderstandings that have dogged them over the years. But on the other hand, it risks further alienating them from the royal family and from the British public, who may see it as a betrayal of the monarchy and a violation of the unwritten code of silence that binds the royals. As the publication date approached, the tension between the Sussexes and the palace reached a fever pitch. Charles was said to be considering stripping them of their royal titles altogether, while William was reportedly incandescent with rage at his brother's continued attacks on the family. For Harry and Meghan, it was a big moment. They had put everything on the line to create a new life for themselves away from the royal family, but they were unsure if they could do that without hurting the very system that helped shape who they were. Heavy as one of the first acts of the king was to extend an olive branch to Harry and Meghan. In a televised address to the nation, he expresses his love and support for the couple, acknowledging the challenges they have faced and the sacrifices they have made. He also made it clear that they will always be welcome members of the royal family, no matter which path they choose. But behind the scenes, tensions had still been running high. Many members of the royal family had been deeply unhappy with Harry and Meghan's decision to air their grievances in public, and there had been fears that their upcoming memoir would only make things worse. Charles had known he must tread carefully, balancing his desire for unity with his need to protect the monarchy's integrity. As the weeks and months passed, Charles focused on his new role as king. He traveled around the country, met with people from different backgrounds, and listened to their worries. He also worked hard behind the scenes to update the monarchy, making its operations more efficient and reducing unnecessary cost. But even as he tried to move the monarchy forward, Charles found himself constantly dogged by the specter of his past. His divorce from Princess Diana, his affair with Camilla Parker B.S., and his strained relationship with his sons had all come back to haunt him, with some critics having questioned whether he was fit to be king at all. For Charles, it had been a moment of reckoning. He had known that he must find a way to heal the rifts within his family and to bring the country together, but he had also known that he could not do so at the expense of his own integrity or the integrity of the monarchy. As he had prepared for his coronation, he could only hope that he would be able to rise to the challenge and to lead his country into a new era of unity and prosperity. The prodigal son. As the day of King Charles's coronation approaches, all eyes are on Harry and Meghan. Will they attend the ceremony or will they choose to stay away, further widening the rift between them and the rest of the royal family? In the end, they decide to attend. Their presence is far from a sign of reconciliation. They are seated far from the rest of the family, and they barely exchange a word with William and Kate throughout the entire ceremony. For many observers, it is a sad reminder of just how far the once close brothers have drifted apart. But even as the world watches the coronation unfold, a new crisis is brewing behind the scenes. In the days leading up to the ceremony, several explosive excerpts from Harry's memoir are leaked to the press, revealing intimate details about his strained relationship with his father and brother, as well as his struggles with mental health and substance abuse. The revelations are devastating for the royal family, and they threaten to overshadow the coronation entirely. Charles is said to be at the end of his tether, while William is reportedly considering legal action against his brother for invasion of privacy. For Harry and Meghan, the fallout from the book is just the latest in a long line of controversies and setbacks. They have been criticized for everything from their lavish spending habits to their perceived hypocrisy on environmental issues, and they have struggled to find their footing in their new roles as philanthropists and media moguls. But even as they face an uncertain future, they remain committed to their mission of using their platform to make a difference in the world. They continue to work on their charitable initiatives, including their Archwell Foundation and their partnerships with organizations like World Central Kitchen and the Loveland Foundation. And in a surprising twist, they also begin to rebuild their relationship with the royal family. In the months following the coronation, they made several trips back to the UK, attending family events and even participating in a few official engagements. It is a tentative rapprochement, but it is a start for Charles. The challenge of bringing his family back together is just one of the many he faces as he settles into his new role as king. He must also navigate a rapidly changing world, one in which the monarchy is increasingly seen as an anachronism by many of his subjects. But he remains determined to prove that the monarchy can still be a force for good in the world, and he works tirelessly to build bridges and to heal old wounds, a new hope. As the years pass, King Charles' reign is marked by both triumphs and challenges. He faces a series of crises, from the ongoing fallout of Brexit to the global pandemic that brings the world to a standstill. But through it all, he remains a steady and reassuring presence, a symbol of stability in an increasingly uncertain world. One of his greatest achievements is the successful transition of the monarchy into the 21st century. Under his leadership, the royal family became more transparent and accessible than ever before, with a greater focus on public service and charitable work. He also works to modernize the monarchy's financial arrangements, cutting back on unnecessary expenses and ensuring that the institution is more accountable to the public. But even as he works to build a new and more sustainable monarchy, Charles never loses sight of the importance of family. He continues to reach out to Harry and Meghan, inviting them to participate in family events and official engagements whenever possible. And slowly but surely, the rift between the brothers begins to heal. In a remarkable moment of reconciliation, Harry and Meghan join the rest of the royal family for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations in 2022. They are greeted with cheers and applause from the crowds, and they seem genuinely happy to be back in the fold. For Charles, it is a moment of profound joy and relief, a sign that his efforts to bring his family back together are finally paying off. But even as the royal family begins to heal, the world around them continues to change at a dizzying pace. The rise of populism and nationalism, the threat of climate change, and the ongoing challenges of inequality and social justice all loom large on the horizon. For Charles, the task of leading his country and his Commonwealth through these turbulent times is a daunting one, but it is a challenge he is more than ready to face. The final act. In the end, it is a decision that only King Charles can make. After months of soul-searching and consultation with his advisors, He comes to the conclusion that the only way to truly heal the rift within his family is to take a bold and decisive step. On March 7, 2025, in a televised address to the nation, Charles announces that he is stripping Harry and Meghan of their royal titles and privileges. It is a move that shocks the world, but one that Charles believes is necessary to protect the integrity and stability of the monarchy. In his address, Charles speaks of the great sadness he feels at having to take such a drastic step, but he also emphasizes the importance of putting the needs of the monarchy and the country first. He thanks Harry and Meghan for their service and their dedication to charitable causes, but he makes it clear that their decision to step back from their royal duties has made their continued use of royal titles and privileges untenable. The reaction to Charles's announcement is mixed. Some praise him for his decisiveness and his willingness to put the needs of the monarchy above his own personal feelings. Others criticize him for being too harsh on his own son and daughter-in-law and for failing to find a way to accommodate their desire for a more independent life. For Harry and Meghan, the news is devastating. They had hoped to find a way to balance their desire for privacy and independence with their commitment to public service and charitable work. But now they find themselves cut off from the very institution that had defined their lives for so long. In the days and weeks that follow, they retreat from the public eye, focusing on their family and their philanthropic work. They continue to support the causes they believe in, but they do so as private citizens without the trappings and privileges of royalty, and as the years pass, they find a new sense of purpose and fulfillment in their work. They become powerful advocates for mental health, racial justice, and environmental sustainability, using their platform and their influence to make a real difference in the world. For King Charles, the decision to strip Harry and Meghan of their titles is a painful one, but it is also a necessary one. He knows that the monarchy must adapt and evolve if it is to survive in the 21st century, and he is determined to do whatever it takes to ensure its long-term stability and success. As he looks back on his reign, Charles knows that he will be remembered as the king who made the tough decisions, the one who put the needs of the monarchy and the country above his own personal feelings, and while he may never be able to fully heal the rift within his family, he takes comfort in knowing that he did what he believed was right, and that he helped to secure the future of the monarchy for generations to come. Do you think Meghan was treated fairly in the royal home? And do you think anything can be done to salvage the already delicate situation between the two brothers? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy